Hello, everyone. Today on the podcast, we have joined Justin Stephens, marketing coach, fractional CMO, and the creator of Life with Justin Stephens. He helps entrepreneurs that build daily marketing system that grow their business and protect their family time. Let's dive into what he does. So, Justin, stage is all yours. For the people who don't know you, give them a bit about you.
So, my name's Justin Stevens. I have spent my entire life figuring out marketing. And so now I'm at a point where I go in and I work with other small businesses and help them produce a message that resonates with their audience in order to close more sales. And that's the whole goal is what is the message we're saying and how are we putting it out there in a way that makes it easy for everyone to win.
Awesome. Can you give us a bit about the backstory, how you got started, and what made you jump inside marketing and stuff? It's boring for a lot of people. It's interesting for a lot of people. For people like me, it's super interesting, right? So give us your backstory, how you went inside marketing.
So I landed in marketing out of college, actually. So in college, I went and I got a degree in marketing because I knew no matter what I did, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. No matter what I do, I want to be able to market myself, and I would need to be able to market myself. And so that's why I ended up getting a degree in marketing, is because I knew I would have to market me. And then over the years, I just fell more and more in love with the concept of putting a message out there and getting someone to come back to me to get that solution filled. That I think is really cool. And so that's how I got started in marketing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And Justin, when I was searching about you when we had this chat, your brand is called Life with Justin Stephens, right?
Right.
What does actually this life looks like behind the scene? How does it work?
Uh, so I love the question. So Life with Justin Stevens is my blog. If you go to justindcstevens.com, you can check out my blog and you'll see on there, I document every single day what happens throughout that day. And then I put it on the blog in order to create a documentary of my life. And I'm creating the documentary of my life because at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to need to leave a message for my kids, to leave a legacy for my kids. And so that's what this whole blog is about, is how am I leaving that legacy? And then the unique part about the blog is those closest to me can become owners in the blog that
Hmm,
we own together. So it's the company is the legacy I want to live or leave behind for my kids. And that legacy involves how do we create a more equitable world for all of us? And that comes from someone has to give in order for someone to receive.
yeah.
And that's where I've designed my blog is to be given away so that other people can receive and we can all live life to the fullest.
Totally makes sense. And it's an interesting thought, when I'm listening to this, it's a totally different thought of giving and receiving, and you have this idea of giving out so that your children can also take over, right?
Yeah.
That's a great thought, I'd say. How do you personally take care of your business and family? Because it's chaos for a lot of people. How do you take care of it, and how do you look at it?
So I look at life as an adventure. And I think one of the problems a lot of people have is they think there's this thing called work life balance. There really isn't work life balance, it is all in. And so that's how I look at it, is when I'm with my family, I am all in with my family. When I'm working, I am all in on working. It's not one or the other. It is, what is the best use of my time right now? Because time, so I look at time like a currency. Time is the most valuable asset we have. And no matter what we decide to do with it, you can't undo it. And so time is this currency where even you and me are exchanging currency already, right? And the more you get to know each other, the more trust you've built, the better we work together. The more we work together, the better success we both have. And so it's all based on this currency of time that we're trading back and forth. And so I look at life from a very different angle than a lot of people. And a lot of it comes down to, how can I position myself to help someone else while taking care of myself, right? Because you've got to, my mom was an EMT, and in emergency response, one of their number one rules is you got to take care of number one in order to take care of number two. And so it's really, how am I taking care of myself? How am I taking care of my family? And investing that time in the right way.
Makes sense. You coming from the marketing world, taking care of your families as well, right? We understand systems. There is a great quote: "People fail, systems don't." Right? And you talk a lot about building daily marketing systems, right?
Yeah.
How does a successful daily system actually include? What does that include?
Great question. The most important thing you have to answer is, why is someone following your story? So I believe a marketing system is nothing but storytelling, and it is storytelling on a consistent basis. So we are telling the story of what we do as a business through the lens of our clients are the heroes, right? So the client is the hero, the company, your company, is the guide, helping guide the hero to where they want to be, right? And so I look at storytelling, I look at marketing like storytelling, where we're just telling the story in order to help people get where they want to go. And so we become the guide in that story. And as people join us, then we get to really help them get the results they're looking for.
Makes sense. Totally understandable. And let's say when you work with companies, right? Let's
Mm.
say you work as a fractional CMO, and let's say you're working with 5 companies. How do you decide where to spend your time and attention? Because sometimes one company will be requiring more of your effort, and sometimes the other one is also requiring your effort and time. So
Right.
how do you make that decision?
It's a hard decision to make, and it really comes down to prioritizing what's going on in each business as you're going through it. So when I partner with someone, I become that fractional CMO. I am all in their business. And so I have 5 partners that I work with like that. And if I can't get them the results, they're not going to stay partnered with me. And so when it comes to prioritizing time, the big thing I look at is what is coming down the pipeline that we need to be aware of. For example, this week I'm going to Idaho Falls to work with one of my clients. We're doing a 2-day video shoot. So that's my priority this week is that client. And
Mhm.
we're going to help them make sure this video shoot goes off amazingly, make sure we get all the content we need, and really dive in. The other clients I meet with every single week, and we stay up to date about what's going on, but they don't have anything urgent this week. So my clients, I work with them to understand that this is part of a team and it's part of a multiple company, because what I do for my clients is I integrate them into my marketing system. So not only are we helping them market, but now on my blog, I talk about them. And on my videos, I talk about them. So they're pushing marketing out from their side. I'm also pushing marketing out from my side. And the added bonus is the 5 companies I work with are getting the audience of the other 4 companies that I'm also working with, because we have this joint marketing approach that we're bringing to the table. So that's how I look at marketing.
Awesome. And talking about marketing, I have this question. I'm very curious to know. Do you think entrepreneurs overcomplicate marketing? And first, let's get
Yeah.
into it. If what is your thought on it?
100% we overcomplicate it. I think entrepreneurs overcomplicate everything. So take marketing out of it. Yes, we overcomplicate it. Bring marketing back into it. We really overcomplicate it, because entrepreneurs want things done right. And I think entrepreneurs have a very high threshold for shame. And
Mhm.
so they don't want things put out that they would feel shame because it got put out. Oh, there's a spelling error. Oh, whatever. Right. And so when that happens, they stop putting content out, when in reality, and no one piece of content's going to make or break your brand. It can break it. Let me rephrase that. But no one piece of content will make it. Your brand is how you show up each and every day. And so you really need to build that brand around, how am I showing up? How am I doing what I said I would do? And how am I getting the results that I said I would get for my clients? So I think that's critical when it comes to marketing, is don't overcomplicate it. Figure out how you want to show up and just show up that way, and show up that way consistently.
Awesome. That's a great answer. Explain itself at a deeper root, not on the marketing level. And I totally agree with you. I'll say, for from my understanding, I feel we just have to get started, and then from there you improve your stuff. So there has been a few studies which have been done, which says there was one person who has been given, to make a clean bottle out of sand, and all he need to do was make one bottle for the whole month, whereas there was another person who has to make 100 bottles in that month. And by the
Mhm.
end of that month, the person who was making 100 bottle made more beautiful aesthetic bottle in shape, because he made things, he have done it so many times. So
Yeah.
definitely, comes to entrepreneurs as well, and we talk about marketing, we try to create the best piece of content where it should be getting started and then improving it from there.
Yeah, I love that, and I totally agree. Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker. Some people may have heard of him. Uh, one of the my favorite lessons from him, he was talking to someone who was vastly overweight and
Mm.
talking about, all right, you need to go to the gym and you need to work out. And then she's talking about, well, how do I know what the right gym is? And uh, I want to make sure I'm getting the best deal, and all these excuses for why she's not doing it. And Tony interrupts her and says, no, what you need is someone behind you yelling, run. You're overcomplicating it. And I think a lot of small businesses, we do that. We just need to market. We need to start telling our story and getting it out there and stop overcomplicating it.
100% agreed. 100% agreed. What do you define success right now in the world where everything is glamorizing hustle culture, right? How do
Yeah.
you define success?
Oh, that's such a good question. I define success as living the life you want to live each and every day. And it's not, success to me is not a financial number. It's not about reaching anywhere specific. Success is a mindset that you wake up and you can either be successful or you are not. It is your choice. And so I look at success as an option, no matter where you are in life, no matter what your situation, no matter what your job or where you're at in the totem pole, success is an option every day. And so it's really coming to understand that and own that success is mine to define and mine to decide.
I agree, and I think we should be taking responsibility. It starts with the acceptance that I need to be more responsible. I'm the one who's gonna take the charge, whether it comes to anything in life. Right? And when you do that, you improve your chances of you know moving fast because now you are responsible. But we keep crying that because of something I cannot do this thing, and we just try to avoid that responsibility, and that's why we take a lot of time to make the decision as well, right?
Right.
So Justin, tell me one thing. You have chosen to focus, working with entrepreneurs father who are father, right? What
Yeah.
sparked that niche? I know you're a father, and what sparked that specific niche which made you made that decision?
So I think fathers are the most underrated role in our society. And fathers are critical to the growth of our society as a whole. And so I decided to target fathers because one, I am one. I've been through the challenges of, or been through, my kids are 8, 10, and 11, or 12, 8, 10, and 12. So I'm going through the joys of parenting. Um, I know what it's like, and I know the impact fathers make on our society. And if I can help fathers improve, they're going to help their kids improve. They're going to help their communities improve. They're going to help those around them improve. And so that's why I decided to focus on fathers, is because I know I can get a good result from that niche and make a big impact.
Justin, can you give me a deeper back of your story? How has been your childhood, and backstory of that piece? Yeah.
Sure. So growing up, my parents owned a remodeling company, and they ended up buying a plumbing company and an electrical company. And so I grew up in this house full of entrepreneurs, and it radically changed my life. And then when I was 13 years old, my parents bought a sales training franchise to train their own companies. And so that's when my dad got into Sandler training. And I went through Sandler training between eighth and ninth grade. It radically changed my life. And it was an amazing investment of time. And it was one of those defining moments where I realized how broken our education system is. I realized how lucky I am to have gotten sales training as a kid rather than understanding geometry. I mean, don't get me wrong, geometry is really cool, but sales training is a lot more useful.
Yep.
Just my opinion, right? Um, and so my parents bought this franchise. I went to sales training every week between eighth and ninth grade. I 2 hours. I had a sweet clip-on tie. I'm in a room with 40 and 50-year-old business owners and entrepreneurs, and I'm 13 years old. I'm a baby. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I learned so much. And I learned a ton about just putting yourself out there and being willing to put yourself out there, because it can be really hard to want to go that far, right? And so I just got started, and who knows where this journey will end. And that's the amazing thing about life, is it is a journey.
Yeah, 100%. I remember my story. Even though I have never gone to a sales training or anything, but I was always interested in getting started with something. So I remember going into doors, knocking out, and try to sell them handkerchiefs. I thought it is a great idea, but now when I think about it, I feel like I had a bad offer. So Justin, tell me one thing. If you had to start your career back over today with the same wisdom, same knowledge, right?
Mm.
What would you do differently?
Oh man, that it's such a good question, because I am who I am because of the experiences I've had. And so if I did anything differently, would I still be who I am? Right. So looking back on it, if I got to start over from complete scratch out of high or college, well, if I got to start over from scratch, I wouldn't go to college. I want that on the record. College was a great time. I had a wonderful time, but I think you miss a lot that the real world is going to teach you, anyways, by going to college, depending on your degree. I love my doctors to have degrees. Like, that's super cool. Thank you guys for going to college. Please keep going. But if you're in marketing, it's not as critical to go to college. Just
Yep,
my opinion. Uh,
100%.
so I wouldn't go to college, and I would find a startup to work in. And I would focus on who is I would focus on who is the smartest person that I can be an executive assistant for,
Hmm.
that I can go in and really build a relationship with them, really work with them hand in hand, helping them build their dreams and learning from them while I'm figuring out my dreams.
Hmm. Totally makes sense. So, and I think, I 100% like that route coming from a marketing world. Me as well. I don't feel, college and stuff helps you a lot. Working in the business or for a business make you understand and learn hell lot of things and much faster than you can even think of. Even if you read three books, it's not gonna even come close to what you're going to learn in 2 months of working as an intern in a company and doing the marketing work. Justin, you mentioned about this, you're going to figure out the smartest person in the room, right?
Mm.
And making some connections with them and all those stuff. How do you think about this quote which says you are the average of five people you hang around with? What do you think about it?
I totally agree. I totally agree. And so, if you're the way I look at it, if you're not focused on what you want and know what you want, those five people become 1,000 times more important. If you are crystal clear on what you want and what you're working for and where you're working towards,
Yep.
those five people are not, they are still incredibly important, but they're not as important as if you do not have a dream you're focused on already.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Be-
So, go on, go on.
yeah, just because at the end of the day, hey, we are so distractible as humans that if we don't focus on something, we're just going to flounder and all over the place. So, gotta focus.
100%. So, Justin, I have two last questions coming on your way.
Okay.
What do you particularly like? And this is my personal question to you,
Mhm.
as someone I think I can learn from, right? Do you think we should be doing multitasking, or we should be only focusing on one task at a time, or
Mm.
how should we approach when we are having a lot of things in a plate? Coming to you with that question, because you are working with a lot of few clients right now, right? So you take care of multiple things at a time, but you also need to focus on one thing at a time as well, right? So how do
Correct.
you take care of it?
I think it's critical to be able to focus on whatever's in front of you. So, one of my, uh, I want to call him a mentor, but he doesn't know I exist yet. uh, I really respect Elon Musk, right? And he runs, I think it's like $7 billion companies, $7 billion companies, and he's running them all. So he's got to be able to do that. You have to be able to focus on what's in front of you and
Mhm.
let go of the noise around you. And it's really hard to do that. But if you can get great at focusing on what's in front of you and ignoring the noise, you can be really